elementary students in Fresno, California have been expelled after they planned on poisoning their teacher with rat poison. They put rat poison in her coffee, and they also put it on her cupcakes icing. When the teacher was about to drink her coffee, one of the students got uneasy and basically knocked the coffee down and admitted what was in the coffee. So as a result, they've been expelled and they've been transferred to other schools. The reason why I bring
wreak havoc somewhere else.
The reason why I bring this story up is, what the hell is happening in our elementary schools?
People always, in elementary school, at least when I was there, people talked about it. People talked about things they would do or be, oh, I hate that teacher, but you wouldn't actually do it. I just wonder what point kids decided to come up and start doing it on their own, or at least having the balls to do something like this. Where do you get the rat poison from?
You know what? I actually think that this is not something that's so new. I bet people did this 20 years ago, 40 years ago. We just didn't hear about it because we didn't have the internet back then. Look, putting rat poison in the teacher's food is really, really bad. It's pretty extreme. But what's more extreme is what happened today in Ohio. There's another school shooting, and at least one kid is dead, at least 4 others are shot. I mean, that's some serious business. This is also very serious, but they're 10 and 11-year-olds, and I'm really torn. I mean, what do you do with these kids? I'm so hesitant to say, throw them in jail forever.
No, I mean, look.
But they need to be punished somehow, being expelled and just transferred to another school.
When it's time for psychological things to fix whatever they believe, they need to learn. This is the problem, and this is where I'm an old man Jackson now. Now, kids, let's just have the full I'll give you the full throw of it. Kids these days don't understand consequences for their actions. That's just the way it is. They think, like I said, you would say it in elementary school. Oh man, I hate Mrs. Peterson. Man, I've had a machete. Little kids say stupid things because they watch cartoons and they watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with their swords. If I had a sword, I would slice her, whatever. But you don't think, I'm gonna go down to my father's basement, find his katana blade that's in his casing, and take it to school and slice her face open. You don't actually think, you don't carry out the next step of that plan because that's insane. Because, by the way, she's gonna die. So you may talk about it, but I don't know how these kids change it into actually doing something like this.
You know what? I could totally see thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna get her or something, and not really thinking that it's actually gonna necessarily kill her. And this kid, freaking out, seeing her about to drink the coffee. I think that is that moment where he goes, oh my God, we might actually kill her.
Yeah.
And then he's just terrified, of course.
And also, when it comes to kids that commit crimes like this, right? With a kid who does a school shooting or something, that's a completely different story. But when it comes to these kids, I think putting them in, whether it's juvenile hall or some other detention center, is only going to make the situation worse. Because putting them in those detention centers doesn't rehabilitate them. It makes them more violent, and it turns them into real criminals.
Well, for me, I just don't have enough facts. If the kids turned out to be, just kind of silly, goofy kids, they didn't really know what they were doing, and they thought the whole thing was funny, it was a joke to them, then, I would be easier on them and say, look, you can't screw around with poison. You could really hurt someone, and, maybe that's enough punishment for these kids to just wake the fuck up and realize they really screwed up. But if it turns out that these kids are bad kids who knew exactly what they were doing, and they really did they really want this woman to die.
Yeah.
And they have a history of it, whatever, then maybe juvenile hall is the right answer. I don't know. I mean, just in the facts alone, it's really hard because they're just 10, 11 years old. If they're much older, easier. If they're much younger, it's also easier. But that 10, 11, a lot of them know, a lot of them don't. I just don't have enough facts in front of me.
Just in general, starting off by talking to them, you can find out if they're actual sociopaths or if they're kids that weren't realizing the gravity of what they were planning to do.
Right.
And if they're sociopaths, you got to find some kind of way to rehabilitate them. But throwing kids that have an issue away is going to make them worse. It's going to be self-esteem issues are going to be piled on top of it.
Right.
And they're going to be like, I'm nothing. I'm worth shit. I might as well keep doing stuff like this.